Well, I finally did it. I finally got an e-bike. My friends and family can all take a collective sigh of relief. I've been talking about this probably so annoyingly for so long. Finally picked one up. Behind me here is the Juiced CrossCurrent X. This is their ultimate commuter, as they say, and it's been pretty good. There's a couple glaring issues that I have with it, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I put on about 150 miles total in about a month, and it's been really good. It's been a great bike, and my daily use of this thing has been limited to about 6 or 7 miles here or there, maybe to work and back, maybe just a leisure ride in the evening. Today we're going to do a range test here. This thing boasts 60 miles of, actually 80 miles of range, and obviously the sliding scale kind of moves as you change the amount of assist that it's giving. So today we're going to go from Easton PA here to Lumberville. It's kind of right down the Delaware River, down a beautiful, mostly flat canal path. Just beautiful scenery. It's super hot today. It's 92 degrees, and I'm getting a late start. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. And so, depending on how long this thing takes, daylight might be an issue. So we'll have to see that. So, yeah. So to get to the path, there is a big downhill, and that's all well and good on the way out with a full battery, but the issue arises if that battery is pretty much depleted on the way home. That's when I need it the most, that last hill climb there. So when we get down to Lumberville, there's a beautiful bridge. We'll take a closer look at that, and yeah, the return trip, basically I'll meter where the battery power is at that point when we arrive kind of to our destination, because we have to repeat it coming back. So yeah, we'll take it from there. I'll kind of tweak and see how much I have to limp this thing back to have enough juice to climb that last hill. So let's get the bike ready, get it all loaded up, and get moving. Just a couple quick things before we head out. I will be trying to track this thing on an app here, so we can get the actual distance, and it looks like speed, average speed, and calories. That's important too. So yeah, we'll see how this thing works, so we can actually see how far we went and in what time. So as we fire this thing up, I have it on a full charge. Unplugging the battery now. See if we can get this kind of tough one-handed. A couple things that power on here. Actually, power on the battery first, followed by power on the controls. Full battery. One of the things that I hadn't seen online that I was really interested in was this sticker right here. So for all of you folks, I saw in the message boards there was a lot of people wondering about this sticker here. This is the you probably can't read it there, it's pretty rough, but it basically says this is a class 2 electric bike. So any of you looking for the proof on the bike as to what class it is, maybe you're trying to ride a certain path, or maybe there's certain rules in your municipality, it is marked as a class 2. From the factory, this thing comes with a couple different assist modes. You got 0, which is no assist. You got Eco, which is kind of just canceling the weight of the bike out. I'm probably going to live in this a lot today. I'm trying to take the battery as far as it can possibly go, so I'm going to really try to milk this thing. And it is flat, as I said, so Eco will be probably where I'm going to be living mostly. You got 1, 2, 3, and Sport if you're trying to cruise up to about 20 miles an hour. After after 20 miles an hour, it pretty much hits a wall. It's a heavy bike. I think it's 60 or 70 pounds. So pedaling this thing as just a bike is a pretty wild proposition. So after you hit that 20 miles an hour and it stops helping you, you really feel it. Now I probably should say that I'm not going to completely stay in that eco mode all day. To get to that path, to get to the canal path, we got to go through town. So if you put it up into that sport mode, you can practically keep up with town traffic pretty well. There's blinking lights on the back of this thing, comes stock. I'm going to be rocking a kind of a high-vis vest and of course helmets and all the rest of this stuff. This is really lovely to see. 93 degrees, feels like 101. All right, let's get this show on the road.
Start workout.
Alright, so we made it down to the canal path. Beautiful downtown Easton. This is where the Lehigh River meets up with the Delaware River over there and goes south all the way to Philadelphia and beyond, out into the Atlantic Ocean. Not going to quite go that far, but it's very interesting, the history behind this canal. So cruising through town, this thing is unbelievable. That 20 miles an hour and more if you tweak the settings is more than enough to keep up with traffic there. It's just, you can stay in the lane. It's really a great experience for sure. Now here on these little trails, this is where it really shines. You can just go miles and miles and miles. Hello geese. I'm gonna bump this thing. I already bumped it down to this eco mode here, and I'm gonna just cruise on this for hours, see how it goes. Get out of here. Come on, get out. Get. These geese are so used to people passing by that they don't even flinch. This is a mandatory break in the path where you have to carry your bike up and over this little set of stairs. And boy, this thing, I wouldn't want to live in an apartment because this thing is brutally heavy. Back down we go. Alright, so quick water break here, and just a quick history lesson. This waterway was used back in the 1800s, 1850s was the heyday. It links up with the Lehigh Canal system, and basically they would float big old barges, flat boats, full of mostly coal, and they would pull. The reason these paths are here like this is because this is where the mule teams would pull the barges down south, down to Bristol, down to the Philadelphia area, where they would sell those goods, and really all stops in between here. So it's really unbelievable history and a beautiful path here today. I stopped in at the Homestead General Store here in Upper Black Eddy, refill on some water. I drastically underestimated how much water I would need with 101 degree real feel. quick update on the distance. 1 hour and 47 minutes in, 18.75 miles, average speed of 10.4. And we have used 1 bar of battery. So we're doing really well. I think we got about 10 or so miles to go. Let's see how we do. So remember when I said that there was a few things that were not so great about this bike? Let's take a look at them right now. So the first thing right out of the box, I hope you can see this, but the wheel has a crazy wobble in it. Let me just give you a couple pedals here. And so if that weren't enough, when I looked into it, I noticed that multiple spokes were completely loose. They weren't even tightened at all. So I got a spoke wrench, I tightened them down, but the wheel is still, way out of tune. And Juiced Bike's customer support is borderline non-responsive. So if you have any issues at all, I think the first time I emailed them, very nice email, and it took them about 7 days to get back to me. And then now I think it's been since then, they got back to me and said, it's no problem. Check and see if the wheel is seated in the rim. Okay, no problem. I aired it down, made sure everything was seated in there, and aired it back up, and then wrote them back. And actually the other thing they said in that one paragraph response was it might be a situation where the wheel needs a true, obviously, and in that case you can take it to a local bike shop and we'll pay for it. So I said, I responded back, I aired it down, no luck, still have all the issues, and no response. I think it's been, the original one was about half a month ago, 2 weeks ago, so I'm sure they will get back to me, but these are the things, you pay $2,500 for a bike. Out of the box, you expect it to at least be rideable. Well, I guess it is rideable, but it is a bump. The wheel is so, maybe that video didn't do it any justice, but there is a good bump in this thing that kind of pops you up in your seat as you're cruising. So, I guess I'll have to update you on that. That's still an ongoing saga. I did call a local bike shop. They said, yeah, we can true up the wheel. But we have a 2-week lead time. I guess everybody's all backed up due to COVID. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll try to limp it through the season. And then once winter comes, maybe I'll take it to the bike shop and they can take all the time they want then. So, I don't know. That's a major bummer on a really, really cool bike. And here we are, Lumberville. All right, so I made it. turned out to be a little more than 30 miles. I think it was 31. Well, let's look at the stats here. Ended up with 2 hours and 49 minutes, 42 seconds, 31.68 miles, and an average speed of 11.2 miles per hour. The battery is hanging in at more than half. Yeah, I think we could go a little further. I'm not going to because we're losing daylight. So if it wasn't for that, I might go to New Hope, which is kind of the next town down towards Philly. Now, before we head back, I couldn't resist walking across this old pedestrian bridge across the Delaware River over into New Jersey. Absolutely beautiful views. Actually, now as I'm looking at it, time might be my biggest enemy, not the battery. If I do the same amount of time going back, it'll get dark. I think it's going to be closer than I think. So I'm going to get a move on and try to make better time on the way back. Now I am starting to get a little bit nervous here. We got, by my calculations, probably about 10 or 12 miles left to go at home. And like I said, that last mile or so is the real test of that motor. That's where I'm really going to need it the most. So let's take a look at the battery here. It's depleting at a much quicker rate. We got 3 bars. I don't know. I'm hoping that it won't be an issue. I'm gonna cruise it in eco and hope for the best here. Alright, so we made it back to Easton, and we have some daylight to spare, but this is where the fun begins. The battery, you can see it's down to 2 bars. So this is where I need the motor the most. This is where that last mile is a real doozy. There's 2 gigantic hills before we get to my house, so here we go. Wish me luck. Alright, here comes big hill number 1. Whew. Continuation of hill number 1. Oh. Still have 2 bars, so I think, barring anything crazy, I think we're gonna make it. All right, here we go, back up again. This is it right here, last hill. That's it, we made it. all downhill from here. 1 bar to spare. Unbelievable. All right, well, there you have it. A huge trip for me. Never ventured that far away from home on a bike. And yeah, that was pretty much, we took it down to the last bar. So, hey, it worked out great. We ended up, it was a 5 hour and 36 minute trip. Went 62.91 miles at an average speed of 11.2 miles per hour. So, yeah, I would say I'm probably going to be feeling that tomorrow in my wrists, in areas that we won't mention. And, yeah, it's just a wild trip for sure. So thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next adventure. See ya.